So we're continuing our ample guitar series with ample guitar Telecaster. I'll leave links in the description below for the other tutorials where I went over some of the other ample guitars. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what this actually sounds like. This is the default preset here. So right off the bat with this default preset, I definitely get some punk rock vibes, which absolutely influenced this MIDI pattern that I ended up making. You do have a couple sample libraries that you could pick from. The sound that we listened to was the neck. Let's switch to the bridge. That could definitely work too, but just like I mentioned in my last tutorial where I went over the ample guitar Stratocaster, I find that the neck pickup versus the bridge pickup tends to have a more rounder sound, while the bridge pickup tends to sound a little twangier. Definitely has more of a country vibe to it, but overall I feel like either the neck or the bridge could actually work well for punk rock or emo. If you want a little more bite to it, I would stick with the bridge. But let's take a listen to what this sounds like with the variety of amplifiers that they have here. I'm actually going to go to the amplifier presets here. We're going to go through some of these clean presets first. The first 3 amps tend to sound better with the cleaner signals, and the last 3 amps actually get... So I'm going to switch over to the more aggressive sounds with these last 3 amps. Now, I know I said the last 3 amps. You'll notice that there was only 2 left on here, but when you scroll over, there's actually an additional amp that just doesn't have any presets yet. I'm sure there will be presets for this soon, but until then, you actually have to modify this yourself. So let's go ahead and dig into this last amp and just come up with a tone that we actually enjoy. You have 3 different channels here, and with each channel you could switch from raw or modern. Right now we're on modern on channel 3. Let's go to raw. There's also an in-between setting as well. So this is in between. So now we're in between raw and modern. Let's go to channel 2. Raw. Channel 1. With channel 1, you actually have the option between clean and pushed. Right now we're on pushed. So yeah, overall, I definitely get emo vibes from this guitar, no matter what amp I'm using. I'd say more so than the other guitars that I've gone over. So this will definitely be my go-to guitar for more of the mellow, emotional vibes that I sometimes go for in my tracks. Someone in the comments from my previous tutorial was asking me about key switches and playing the guitar on keyboard. They said that they were struggling with getting any of the effects to actually trigger. One thing that you might want to keep in mind that when you switch to keyboard mode, which is what a lot of you probably are using when you're playing with your keyboard, you actually lose a lot of the articulation that you would normally get from your guitar. You'll notice that when I switch these different modes, you actually don't get a different sound. Let's switch to legato mode number 2. The notes aren't actually sliding. I'm literally just... And legato mode number 3. There's no sliding that's going on. So you actually have to be in guitar mode to get these to slide. Right there, we got a slide note. And another thing that you got to keep in mind, the notes are only going to slide if you're playing on the same string of the guitar. And with guitar mode, it actually switches to the proper string for you if you were to play a note that's on the same string. That's what makes it play like a real guitar. So if you're trying to glide into a note that's being played on a different string, it's obviously not going to slide because you're not sliding. You can't physically slide into a new string. You can only slide on one string. Now, say you want a more dramatic slide. Well, that's where you want to get into these key switches here. So if you're looking for a really big slide note, I recommend just clicking in the actual slide option here, choosing whatever note you're looking for and sliding up. You'll get a more dramatic slide. Keep in mind, as soon as you let go of your notes, the slide option will release and go back to normal playing. Same deal with the slide in, slide out notes. You could slide all day long, but as soon as you let go, it'll stop doing the slide ins. But you'll hear that the note slides in automatically without even triggering a second note. So we should hear a slide going into the note that we play individually. You hear how it bends up into that note? As soon as I let that go and I played a different note, it went back to the normal mode. So if you want to keep sliding, you got to make sure that you're using legato, meaning you're always holding a note at all times. And then as soon as I let go, it's going to go back to its normal mode. Another thing that I recommend, if you go down an octave, I have a 61 key controller, but if you go down to these key switches, you can actually trigger the normal mode and the palm mute mode at the same time, which is something that I recommend if you want more dynamic playing. So you could actually click both of those in. It doesn't work if you try to click both of these in with a mouse. It'll only choose one or the other. But if you actually trigger these on your keyboard, press both of those key switches at the same time, and go back up, and now we have more dynamic playing, because if I hit these notes lightly, I get palm mutes. But if I press these notes with normal velocity, I actually get my normal notes. So yeah, if you have any more questions regarding any of the ample guitars, definitely leave a comment down below. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.